Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jayananama Tunda Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braj Janarandana Yashoda Nandana Braj Janarandana Yashoda Nandana Braj Janarandana Yashoda Nandana Raj Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Goranitai, 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 Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Radha Natabara, Radha Natabara, Radha Natabara Shivate. Jaya Radha Natabara, Radha Natabara Shivate. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Prabhupada, Dota the Sutta, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. BBT founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sigaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Radha Natabar Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Brihad Mridanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Dineshri. Nama Swami Tinam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya. Nama Swami Tinam Namaste Saraswati. Nama Charity Shishani Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. So it is our great honor and privilege to be here with all of you again. My name is Jai Nitai Das. This is my wife, Baba Bhakti Devi Dasi, and we're visiting from the UK, and we've just been doing a little bit of traveling. We went yesterday, we were in 3 states, Ohio, went to Cincinnati, then we passed through Indiana, wound up in Kentucky, and now we're back here in Ohio again. So just traveling around and trying to speak a little something about this principle and initiative of devotee care. We spoke on, Friday evening, and so we're continuing the conversation, and today we'll discuss a little bit more and try to also make it a bit more interactive. Is everyone okay with that, being interactive? Sometimes when I say that in places, they're like, oh God, I have to talk to somebody else. So we'll try to keep it like that. Before we do, I'd like to chant the Mangalacharana prayers. So if you know these prayers, you can please join in. Om Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militangena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari and Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivazadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Columbus Ki Jai Shishi Radha Natavar Ki Jai Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gauda Pramanandi Hari Krishna. So how many of you were with us on Friday night? I think most everyone. Okay. Who wasn't here on Friday night? Congratulations, you're the best audience I think I've ever had because everyone in the room raised their hand for one or the other. Usually there are people who are like, and then you have to say, who didn't raise their hand for what I asked? And even then they don't raise their hands. So you're a very communicative community. So thank you very much. So those of you who were with us on Friday night, we finished off with this slide. So I'd just like to read it again, because just like when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, there are certain statements that are mentioned time and time again. Anyone can think of a statement mentioned in Prabhupada's books time and time again? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mataji with the mask. Yeah, so just name one. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Yeah, I think I might have missed that one, but okay. Very nice. Anyone else? Always remember Krishna, never forget him. Yes. Yes, that was the one I was thinking often. We are not this body. Right? Anyone hears that time and time again? Yes. Anyone here still acts like a body? Anyone here still treats other people like a body? And how many times do we hear it, right? But at least it's going in. So sometimes we think. So would someone like to read this for me? Someone can see this? Any volunteers?
Our mission is simple. We want every devotee to be spiritually happy, materially well situated, and positively identifying with ISKCON as a caring society.
Who thinks that this is a nice vision statement, nice mission? Yes. Who feels that we still have a little bit of work to do on this? Yes. Who thinks we've achieved it? Okay. Okay. The one young lady at the back feels. No. Sorry. Something like that. So, good thing it wasn't an auction, or you would have bought whatever was there. So, no, definitely not. Even the youngsters know it's not. So we had quite a bit of discussion on this, especially around the which statement in here. Anyone remembers? We discussed quite a lot. Materially well situated. Yes, materially well situated. And we were discussing yesterday at the in Cincinnati program, because they were celebrating Guru Purnima, and we discussed about Ramananda Roy, his return to Purushottam Kshetra, to Sri Jagannath Puri, and how how Lord Chaitanya was encouraging him to give up his duty. Is that this thing that's making that noise? Just the speaker. So if I hold it further, will it still make a noise? It'll be the same. Okay, so Lord Chaitanya was encouraging Ramananda Roy. He asked him to give up his governmental services. And so he went to speak to King Prataparudra, and King Prataparudra gave him, and at the same time, he also gave him full pension. And we often talk about, and even that night, someone asked about renunciation. And how is it that, he still got full pension? Isn't he's going to stay with Mahaprabhu? Shouldn't he just be renounced? So materially well situated, as we discussed the other night, is something that's very individual for each person. And so we have to really understand ourselves. So we can't superimpose something onto ourselves that maybe isn't correct, but at the same time, we're all meant to be renounced. Yes? No matter what ashram you're in, no matter what varna you are, you're meant to be renounced. So King Prataparudra was also renounced. Yes? No? Yes? Why? How was he renounced? Say it again. Huh? Okay, he swept the road by renouncing his prestige. Yeah, so he accepted a humble position. Huh? Yukta Vairagya. Yes. Yukta Vairagya means no matter who you are, what you are, you actually just understand that everything belongs to Krishna. And that means nothing belongs to me. Not even this body. Everything has come from Krishna. So being materially well situated will be different for different people. So, but ultimately we should all understand that we're not this body and nothing here belongs to us. It's all on loan from Krishna, from the Lord. So like that.
Yes, Krishna is addressing Arjuna. My dear Partha, one who claims to be my devotee is not so. Only a person who claims to be the devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. So, does that make sense? First of all, the Krishna is saying, if you care for or appreciate or are serving my devotees, then I'm noticing you more so than if you just come directly in front and say, maybe step over the devotees and just, okay, I'm here now. I'm here. So, and yesterday we were reading, like I said, in this section about Ramananda Rai. And Prabhupada says in the Prabhupada, he makes a common term of like, love me, love my dog. This is a common term. So he's just comparing it to like this, that, yeah, if you're going to try to love a person, as it were, you have to accept, you may have to take on other people. And maybe we were just talking to some devotees yesterday, not just in the Indian families, but more so that it's never just, I'm getting married to this person. You're marrying maybe some people are Gujaratis here, so the kakas, the boys, the masis, and you got the nanans, of course, and this and that, and the bars and bafoys, and everyone comes with it. It's never just, oh, it's just me and my husband. No, you take on everyone. And unfortunately, if there isn't a harmonious situation, as we know, not so nice, not so nice. As my mom would say, Ramayan too, it's like the Ramayan takes place. So we can see here that Krishna, it's a simple statement, really. It's just the understanding that try to appreciate and care for the devotees here, especially because when you go back to the spiritual world, if you look around just in this room, so many beautiful paintings, but Krishna's there with Balaram, but he's surrounded by other devotees. It's never just, oh, it's just us two, or it's just me and the devotee, as it were. So this simple statement, but somehow understanding that I'm going to have to appreciate the devotees. Doesn't mean you have to hang out with them all the time. Doesn't mean everyone's got different moods and natures, but somehow some understanding that, as we were saying, my connection with you goes beyond what I'm judging you on the bodily concept. Because also we have cultural differences that someone might say, I don't normally hang around with people like that, or I don't normally connect. Like in London, when I was sitting sometimes in meetings, in management meetings, I'd look around the room and I would think, there's no way I would actually associate with these personalities if it wasn't for Sri Sri Radha and Nanishwara in the middle of that room, and we all came together, finance department, the DD department, admin department, all the different ashrams, we'd all have management meetings and, personality clashes and this. And I think, yeah, but we meet every week and we all serve together. Why? The common factor is we just want to be friends and love Sri Sri Radha and Nanishwara. So I'm somehow connecting and appreciating. And of course, if I was getting on with them, that was pleasing their lordships. And you understand if I'm fighting with them or having some issues, it wasn't pleasing to them. So simple statement, but Krishna's summed it up nicely in terms of devotee care. Just try to appreciate those people I love, which includes you. So which includes you, but just try to appreciate them. And that's how I'm going to appreciate you. Simple.
Actually, we see, I was looking around because you mentioned the pictures to see if there's a picture of the Ras Leela. So we know in the Ras Leela pastime, all the gopis were with Krishna. And Krishna expanded himself into so many different, almost unlimited forms to be with each gopi. But then something happened and he left everybody. And what was that? They became proud. And why did they become proud? They thought, Krishna is only with me. And because of that, Krishna left. So we have to be very mindful that if we think it's just me and Krishna, and also we know that Scripture explains that this is a Kanishta mentality, that we come into the room, we don't see the devotees, we just see Krishna, me and Krishna. And we used to have that in the morning, especially in London in the Bhagavatam class. All the devotees would be literally piled up like this. And some people would come in before work. Pious people, they're coming to the temple, but they ring the bell. Dang, dang, dang. I mean, you're in the middle of Bhagavatam class, and the bell rings louder than as if there was a fire or a nuclear fallout or something. And they just walk in literally right through the middle of everyone. And they offer obeisances, feet right up against the Matajis. Right? And it's as if nobody else in the room exists except for them and Krishna. Now, in one sense, this is glorious, because at least they're coming to the temple offering respects and they're approaching Krishna. And Krishna says, what is it? Akama sarvakama va mokshakama uttaradehi. So whether we're full of desires, whether we have no desires, whether we desire moksha, you should still come to me. But at the same time, as we become a little bit advanced and achieve the Madhyama platform, then we start to see the devotees. And we recognize how important the devotees actually are to Krishna. And really, our entire spiritual life is dependent on the devotees. It's really dependent on the devotees, right? There's this saying that if you want to get to Krishna, you have to go through Srimati Radharani, the dearmost devotee, the topmost devotee. But if you want to get to Srimati Radharani, you have to go through Lord Chaitanya. And if you want to get to Lord Chaitanya, you have to go through Lord Nityananda. So it's like, it's not like you can just go straight to Krishna. You can't just go and see the president or the prime minister. You have to go through his agents, his entourage. So like that. So in this way, we just start to understand and think that actually the devotees of Krishna, they are the dearmost thing to Krishna. They're the dearmost persons to Krishna. And so therefore, if I look after them, if I care for the devotees of Krishna, then that will certainly please Krishna. And if Krishna is pleased, then the goal of my life is achieved. I've achieved success. And it's actually quite easy. We just need to serve the devotees of Krishna. And so many pastimes of those who went against the devotees of Krishna. Well, is that because of the way I'm holding it, or it's just the way it works here? Okay. Maybe you need to come closer. Whenever you're around, all the electrical things work perfectly. Like Lord Indra and the Govardhan Leela, right? He was out to actually destroy all of Krishna's devotees, all of his associates. Look what happened to him. He got humbled. But what happened with all the devotees? They wound up closer to Krishna. In fact, they got 7 days and 7 nights of uninterrupted sangha with Krishna. So like that. So this is a quote from Srila Prabhupada where he explains Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, that everyone should be happy. We have this statement, chant and be happy. Sometimes you're in devotee community, you think the statement must be chant and be miserable. Anyone has that experience? No one? Everyone here is just so happy. Yeah, sometimes it's like, you think, what's happening? Sometimes devotees don't really seem to be blissful. Spiritual life, Krishna consciousness, bhakti is meant to give us ananda, right? All the other processes, they may give us sat, they may give us chit, but bhakti gives us ananda. It gives us bliss, and we're meant to be happy. And what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? Susukam kartam avyayam. The devotional service should be joyfully performed. Joyfully performed. So we have to see, of course, there'll be ups and downs, but in general, we should always try to be, we should be blissful and buoyant. And we can achieve this if we're happily serving the devotees. So like that.
Okay. So here we have a question for you all. What is devotee care? Which might sound like obvious, but the point is, what is devotee care to you? Like if someone says, oh, like they're coming to do a talk, or what is it? What does devotee care mean to you? No. So inclusive and considerate of devotee feeling. Right. Anyone? Matthew? So making sure devotees are happy and advancing Krishna consciousness. True. So not judge, don't judge, but to make them feel better. So, yeah.
Provide emotional and spiritual care.
So emotional and spiritual care.
Act like a devotee and inspire others.
Very good. Act like a devotee and inspire. Remember when I met my spiritual master the first time, he was giving a talk, maybe like just a small group, and he said an instruction was to become the most perfect devotee, be as perfect as you can be. And I was confused, like perfect, become a perfect devotee, like. And then he explained that, just as you said, that become such a good example, become a perfect devotee, such a good example that when people see you, they feel inspired. And he was explaining that that's also like service to become perfect, but not perfect like I'm perfect, but just acting, and not just acting, but actually living that act, perfection. And he said that's the service. That's the service to a devotee.
Caring for the elderly, disabled, uh, impoverished.
Okay. So elderly, disabled, and impoverished devotees.
Someone else said, yeah.
Here, sometimes personal attention.
Mm.
Personal attention means
To talk to them, spend time.
Yeah. That's very powerful.
So, devotee care, in my opinion, it works on the dimensions. It's not the get control between that. So start with the spiritual, moral, then intellectual,
Yeah.
spiritual. So emotions there sometimes spiritual master is heavy. So crush them.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody says one thing that's good. Sometimes it's not helping them. So far correct. Sometimes it's necessary that for them. Sometimes giving money, something. All those things by itself as false in the category.
Yeah.
Like social thing or intellectual, highest thing, teaching has all of them.
Yeah.
So the time to take what situation, what is that?
Mm.
So you want to understand that and then do that to elevate them, bring them to my experience.
Yeah. Well, for sure. If you don't have any money, or you have issues at home, husband, wife, or kids are sick, or you're sick, then someone says, just chant Hare Krishna. Prabhu, are you chanting your rounds? Did you do your reading today? It doesn't. So it's the person is a whole. And before you can get to the spiritual side, which we may also obviously ensure they're doing that, but you have to make sure their mind, body, soul, everything is working and nice and they're okay. And sometimes you need to be materially well situated, whatever that means for everyone, because it's different, to be able to perform your service.
actually, it's very nice to hear
angles and perspectives, because that is the case. But often when we travel places and we ask what is devotee care, the prominent thing that is spoken is sick devotees, old devotees, or devotees who are about to leave their bodies, which is also care, for sure. But a lot of times when you say devotee care, it's limited to these three things. And often we forget that there are children that require care, and they require a unique type of care. Elderly people require a certain amount of care, someone who's sick, but general devotees need care. And I really appreciated, who was it that said that they just need to be listened to? Because lots of times we forget the most simple thing that you can do to help someone is to just be a friend, to care about them. Care is actually something that's so subjective, it's hard to put your finger on it exactly. But a lot of times, as we're traveling and speaking, devotees often will say, and also our spiritual master, he said that his experience when traveling is that devotees just want someone to talk to. They just want someone to talk to. And often, we're so busy with service that we don't actually have time to just sit down and be with someone when they need someone to just talk to. And to speak to also free from judgment. To just listen to them and be able to hear them out. You know, I know there's ladies and men, we often have different ways of addressing issues in general. Ladies like to speak and have someone listen and acknowledge and not give solutions. Men are like, no, you don't need to say anything more. I can fix all your problems. And ladies are like, that's not, you didn't fix the problem. So sometimes it's like that we just need to be able to listen to someone. And it's amazing how if you're able to be in a space where you just listen, like genuinely listen, and not wait for them to stop talking so you can speak. That's often the thing that we do. Then they feel like they've been able to, you know, get something off their chest and reveal their mind. And of course, Rupa Goswami explains that Dadati Pratikrinati Guyamakyati Prichiti, that we have to learn how to reveal our mind in confidence and also hear someone's mind being revealed. So like that, it's one of the 6 loving exchanges between devotees, as is prasadam, as is giving gifts and charity. So these are the 6 loving exchanges. So sometimes it can be just simple as asking someone, how are you? Now of course, we discuss often ourselves, there used to be one devotee, we would cook for the deities on Friday mornings. And this one devotee would come in every Friday to do he does the offering, offers the arti, and does that service. Every morning, every Friday he would come in, Haribo, how are you? And before we could answer, he would just shoot off. And we're like, Prabhu, that was a question. Instead it becomes like a statement. And we don't actually wait for someone to answer the question. Because if someone, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm really having a tough day, but they're long gone. They didn't even get to hear the answer to the question. Or there were some devotees, they went on a retreat with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And they've been serving at Bhaktivedanta Manor for over almost 30 years. And they were on the retreat, and Maharaj did this program where he broke them into groups. And they got talking to each other. And they thought, oh, I know you. No, I know you. And then at the end, they raised their hand and reflected back that we've been serving together for 30 years, and we just realized how little we know about each other. And also, that the only thing we've really said to each other in 30 years is, Haribo. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Now, of course, in the cleaning of the Gundicha temple, everyone was just saying, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But in general, we should just make time. Just make time to be with devotees, and it makes a huge difference like that. So why do you think devotee care is important? It may seem obvious. What do you think? Prabhuji? What is your name, Prabhuji?
Yadanath Chandra.
Yadanath Chandra. Please, yes.
Basically it is learn and grow together.
To learn and grow together.
Because we all have different levels of happiness, distress, problems. So we all share with each other, learn from others, senior devotees, Vaishnavas.
Very nice. So to learn and grow from and with each other. Okay. Anyone else?
So when you care for devotees, you are not just caring for that person, but you are caring for Krishna. And when you care for somebody, you develop compassion in your heart. And it's just win-win situation.
Very nice. So when you care for devotees, you're also caring for Krishna, and you're cultivating compassion. There's a statement that devotees are meant to be para dukkha dukhi. We're meant to be para dukkha dukhi. What does that mean? We feel the distress of someone else. If we see someone else in a difficult situation, we feel that. We feel that situation. So that's compassion.
So generally, devotees means like when you come in, like the first time, you have a lot of connection outside, right? So you're receiving care to your friends, relatives, neighbors, or whatever, right? But
And then as you start associating, you are distancing from others. So you are left only with this group, majority of the time. So if you are not getting care here, you are like miserable at that point. So
That's such a powerful point. So many devotees, they leave all other association, even family. Often they kind of separate themselves away from family and just become fixed in their new family, in Krishna's family, Prabhupada's family. Unfortunately, sometimes when they're in the greatest need, what I've seen over the years is that they don't get what they need in the family of devotees, and a lot of times they have to go back to their original families, who aren't even devotees, but they'll do whatever is required to help them. It's really quite an interesting thing. And we often talk about having a spiritual family, being part of Prabhupada's family, being part of Krishna's family. But family means quite unconditional. In many cases, family means unconditional. You know you can depend on them no matter what. Maybe it's not always true, but in general, it means family is there. So this is a very valid, very, very special point. So, what do you think are some reasons for a lack of devotee care? So we really got you all thinking today. I think that means like, yeah, you're working this out.
Devotional immaturity.
Could you expand on that?
So all these things that you just explained, they're not necessarily very basic points. They're a little bit advanced. They're not the first thing that people learn. So people might be very engaged in, the very basic points, and they may not have grasped what you just said, all the things that you just said.
Okay.
They may be, very focused on chanting their rounds and doing their service.
Very nice. I appreciate it, especially that point at the end. Like, sometimes, again, our devotional service in the beginning can be very self-centered. I, me, and my, which isn't a bad thing. Of course, Prabhupada said first we have to save ourselves, then we can save others. But yes, so sometimes there can be a lack of maturity. Anyone else?
Devotees are busy preaching.
Devotees are?
Busy preaching.
Busy. Anyone's heard this or said this? Oh, he's so busy. She's too busy. I can't approach them. They're too busy. Yeah, that was my whole identity also in the past. Even for my 50th birthday, a couple of devotees got together and they did this skit, and the whole essence of the skit was how I'm so busy. I'm always busy, and the door is always getting knocked on. And I'm like, how do you go? Yeah, please come in, you sit down. I'm talking to one, I got someone on the phone, I'm sending a message, I got an email, I'm doing all these things, and it's like, and then people are like, oh, it's too busy. Prabhu, can we meet? Yes. 2025? Is that work for you? So it's like that. Sometimes we're so busy in Krishna's service that we don't have time for the devotees. Yes.
So sometimes even though you have the intention to help, it's the time is one factor, but the other thing is inability to help so many devotees who are seeking help. It's not Krishna.
So just to repeat, sometimes just the inability to help so many devotees because of there's one of you and so many people knocking on the door. That's true. And sometimes you think we're part of the mentorship system. There are 3 groups between us. Ladies, single ladies and the Grihasta group. And some people still knocking on the door that can we join your group, just to have that shelter and that just Krishna Katan. But it is hard to just say, well, maybe we're a little bit full, we're at capacity, but also this point of self-care that, because sometimes the other side is people do keep giving. Okay, you want to meet me to talk? Okay. Oh, you want to meet me to, but it's also can be draining as well, and not to be negative, but so it's also, you have to be in the right space and buoyant and be able to take on someone else's I don't mean negative issues or whatever they need to speak about. And if we don't, and also we saw in the past when we're managing, if we take on too much in that mood of localized Krishna, as it were, I can help everyone, then that also comes across, and then they can see they're not quite listening, or they're not really stressed, or I took too much time, or so boundaries are there, and accepting that maybe I need to say no sometimes, but probably.
I think the biggest thing is also lack of trust. Because they often then try to help, but there could be and cannot be necessary. I mean, that's not right.
Yeah.
So, real time helping or is trying to gain something, or you're just falling into the so many things.
Yeah. Probably.
Rivalry.
Rivalry.
Conflict.
Yeah.
Conflict.
Yes. So sometimes, just to repeat, there's rivalry between unhealthy rivalry between devotees. So that can also impede that ability to care. Does that make sense? Just,
There is no particular dedicated like for example, we have water service only some can not all, not everybody, and everybody is giving care that won't be a and in my way of doing care in certain time, somebody has to come and say, oh, that's not do it this and give you the so I will pray for this people who are interested so that others can focus on what they are doing. And there is also like something doing that
Don't get cared for.
because
Who will care for that team?
Yeah. Well, but by that, I mean, I agree with you in that in principle. Just that that can also lead to
The classic, it's not my service to care for you, Prabhu. that's that team, that's that Mataji over there. She's the, I don't care, okay? She cares. So, but yeah, your point is that it's nice, just like, and we're kind of running out of time. We have to finish by 12:30.
It's especially if sometimes you go for we take the RFP silent, we can continue for some more time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, that's up to you to decide, but I also, devotees come sometimes Sunday for a specific thing, so.
Lack of like teamwork or like kind of going off of what Hannah said, but like I think a lot of devotees have intentions, but they know they don't have the resources, but if they communicated that to others, they would all have the resources together.
This is so amazing. I sometimes find within communities that because there's a lack of communication and like real open dialogue, that I'll speak to someone and they'll say, oh, there's not this, not that. And I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense, I get that. But then I'll find myself talking to someone else and they're telling me they've got all the skills and abilities that this person over here is looking for and needs. And I'm like, they just don't even know it's there. So sometimes it's just about almost a transference of communication of information about what's there and what's possible. But what I was going to say on your point, is that, yeah, just like you have someone here in charge of Sankirtan or book distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's that? They're not here today?
They are online live.
They're online.
Prince.
Okay, so Lila Mataji is also there. Well, so like, it's your responsibility to remind everyone, the more you show, the more you sell, right? About books. We have to distribute books. The marathon's coming up, books. We're having a festival. Where's the book table? It's their responsibility to keep it fresh in their mind. I know when we first set up the Temple Council in London, we had our Sankirtan devotee was always at the meetings, the Sankirtan leader, and he was always reminding us, whenever there was like problems or difficulties, he would say, let's have a marathon. Because if we distribute books, then everyone gets occupied with the missionary service, and oftentimes, it's funny, things just vanish, you know. So he was always there ringing that bell, you know. Deity department would be represented, and they ring the deity department bell. Oh, you know, we need more pujaris. Oh, we need better quality boga. Oh, we need this. So you have to have that person that reminds us all and the leaders and whoever that, yeah, oh, wait a minute, we have to remember to look after the devotees. You know, we have to care for the devotees, so like that. And then there are different reasons that are given. We do the course: self-interest, lack of concern or empathy, short-term vision, wrong priorities, lack of individual empowerment, and inadequate professionalism. So as someone said, it's just immature. We don't know how to deal with certain things, so like that. Now, you're in charge. I'm your servant. So you have to decide what we do, and I'm just saying. How much time? 3 hours? I can talk all day, you know. About the podcast. 3 hours. This is what I'm dedicating my life to at the moment. So, but you know, if you say 5 minutes, we'll go 5. If you say 10, we'll go 10. Everyone's okay with that?
Yes.
Anyone who will be completely disturbed or disrupted, that we don't get to stand up right this minute and have kirtan for their lordships.
You'll go after the video.
We'll go after that. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so we'll go for 10 minutes and make sure we leave a little time. But this is interactive, so there's some questions here. So one thing that we wanted to discuss and touch upon was this principle, the spectrum of care. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this on the screen because it is quite small. But on the devotee care course, the devotee care course, I mentioned this to some devotees, that we're going to do Vrindavan this evening. We'll be running the course there for the next 4 days for a group of devotees that they've selected. And this course was put together by Rasmandala Prabhu, whom you probably don't know, but he's Prabhupada disciple, educator. He's worked with Oxford at different places, and he's been he was the first person to set up the Vrindavan Institute.
Yeah, maybe you can turn the mic the other way around. Yeah.
Maybe turn it now.
So anyway, he put the course together in collaboration with about 75 or 80 devotees from, like senior devotees from around the world. So he got input from all of them to put this course together. And they came up with this idea of the spectrum of care, which includes that there are 12 areas of devotee care. And that's mostly based on the fact that devotees expressed they feel a lack of care in these areas, or they found that there was often a need, or they were being requested for specific things in this area. So the first one, of course, is spiritual life, and all of these are just like bullets. On the course, we open it up and really explain each one. So spiritual life, you know, their lordships are here, the doors are open, we're serving prasadam, you know, all of these things. We're doing courses, we're creating a space for people to come and hear about Krishna. This is spiritual life. So we're giving everyone direct access to their spiritual life. But then you have things like health care. Anyone here has ever had any health issues? Yeah. Maybe some of you currently have health issues, or you know someone who has health issues. And usually when someone has issues with either their physical health, or as Prabhuji was saying, you can have issues with mental health, you can have issues with emotional health and well-being. So on different levels we can have challenges with our health. And often when we're traveling, people say, oh, are you going to come and teach us how to look after people who have mental health issues? Because mental health is such a big challenge in the world at the moment. And as Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said many years ago, it's a big issue, it's a huge challenge, and it's on the rise. and it's going to continue to be on the rise because we all walk around with these little things in our pocket. I don't have mine right now, it's in a different pocket. Right? It's a little phone. And with that little phone, a phone used to be something that sat in one room in your house, and you only heard it ring if you were in the vicinity of the phone. Now you carry it around with you everywhere, and not only is it a phone, but it's access to the worldwide net. You got Messenger, you got social media, you've got WhatsApp, you've got this, that, and data is flowing so fast that actually it's impossible for the human brain to keep up with that much data, and that can cause serious breakdown. Not to mention things like social media. People are so absorbed and consumed with letting everyone know what they had for lunch, how late they went to bed, what color their socks are, that they, thought this or thought that, and putting out all kinds of negative stuff, and you get this whole different world of psychology going on just from things like that. So the world we live in is quite a dynamic space in which we may need help navigating it. Then there's married life. Anyone here is married? Okay. Anyone here wants to be married? Anyone used to be? Anyone used to be married? Anyone who's married and wish they weren't married? Don't answer that question. Especially men. If anyone raises your hand, I will not take responsibility. So they say marriage is it's the only institution where the people who aren't inside of it are fighting to get in, and those who are inside are fighting to get out. So that was a joke. It's not true. We're very happily married most of the time, if I keep my mouth shut. So marriage, devotees, we were just with devotees yesterday. They were saying Grihastha Ashram, because we also do, we've done some training, Grihastha Ashram with the Grihastha Vision team. So these kind of things. Devotees need assistance. We've been working with 3 or 4 different couples recently doing marriage mentoring, and it has made a huge difference. I guarantee at least one of the couples by now would have definitely been divorced. And it's not like we did anything magic. We just became a facilitator for helping 2 people communicate. Because when communication breaks down, everything breaks down. When you can't exchange and dialogue and hear, and that's the other thing. The focus is just helping them to listen to the other person. And I watch sometimes between couples, as soon as he starts to talk, she does that. And as soon as she starts to talk, he's like, and nobody is listening. So these kind of things. So anyway, there's many areas. Raising children. Anyone has children? Anyone was ever a children? Anyone here was ever a child? If you don't raise your hand, we got some problems. Okay. So, that's a whole area. Education, career and employment. I mean, you may think, what has that got to do? But who here has found that it's a challenge? Young people don't know what kind of career they should have, where they should go. Even older people don't know what they should do. They're not happy doing what they do. People don't have a job. They don't have anything. I was just with some devotees. They graduated. They were doing something else. They're not happy. But they have a real passion for doing certain things. And I was thinking there must be someone in the community who knows someone who's doing that and can help them to connect them. And I find that when we help to connect people and they get some job there, it's like it's just about helping people. So it's just another area. Financial, housing, all of these things can be broken down into so many different ways that we actually try to help and assist. Yes, please.
So I think you have laid out it well, but the first time the initial days when I started coming to ISKCON, the thing that I used to hear was, okay, when you come to ISKCON, it is not about your current material life. You're not going to look for coming to Krishna is going to increase your prosperity. This is all about spirituality. This is about your soul. This is about not having another birth and things like that. You have all your material problems, just keep it out of the door and come in. Right? So that was the vibe or feeling I got, right? And then even some senior devotees who came and gave classes, and I was asking about kids' education, career employment, they used to tell, oh, you all should be working in a farm. Stop education, right? That's what Prabhupada said, and those things were really turned me off, right? Like, but obviously I overcame and I continue to pursue that, right? So how do we really address this, right? Like there is one side of ISKCON which recognizes that these pockets or these components are important to see a 360-degree view as a person versus another side of ISKCON which says, oh, just you are spiritual, you're coming for spiritual growth and gain, forget about all things material, right? So I don't know, maybe you are taking this to GBCs and other major leaderships. How are you receiving? How have you been received in this, right? Are you getting any pushbacks? Are you getting any support?
Very nice. Nice question and very good point. And just so you know, this course, let me see if I can get to it. Because you asked the question. This is a GBC resolution. Someone would like to read, Prabhu, can you read that for me?
GBC Resolutions 2019, Global Devotee Care Course Education 2019, resolved that the GBC encourages all ISKCON temples to hold the 4-day devotee care course entitled Embedding Care in Krishna Conscious Communities for all caregivers and administrators.
So, they're the ones, they told us to do this. So, they may also push back, but, but this was mandated by the GBC. They looked at the course, the whole presentation was done to them. And I think in brief, to answer your question is, and I don't want this to be like an excuse, because I think it is definitely a level of reality, that 50 years for an institution is not a long time. But it certainly has been long enough for us to make plenty of mistakes. And if anyone in the room didn't know that we made some mistakes, then there you go, cat's out of the bag. But guess what? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, every endeavor is covered by some fault. So the material world is so constituted that we are going to perpetually make mistakes. The thing is that when we make mistakes, we have to be prepared to learn from them. Just the other day, well, actually, on our drive to Cincinnati yesterday, I was on the phone for about 45 minutes with one couple having a meltdown because of current mistakes. And their community is melting down. People are becoming disillusioned. So and they want to know, what is ISKCON doing about it? Like I'm Mr. ISKCON. I can tell you everything. So, like this, in my opinion, this whole principle is an effort and an endeavor to start to look at these things and be real and practical. And it's great, and I know because I was probably told very similar things. I'll give an example. So I used to be a musician, or still I'm kind of a musician. I play bass guitar. When I joined the temple, I had my bass guitar. I moved in as a brahmachari. The temple president said, I said, what should I do with my guitar? He said, put it in the corner. I said, I've been playing for so many years. I went to school. I learned so many. He said, put it in the corner. So after about a year and a half of it sitting in the corner collecting dust, I got it out because I was going to take it to the pawn shop and sell it to get some money to get a computer so that I could get database and take notes. I got it out. I was in the ashram, the men's ashram, and I just thought, let me just have one more play before I sell it. So I went, and then the brahmachari ashram leader came in, and I was like, ah! I thought, oh no, I'm caught, I'm in Maya. And he said, oh wow, that's your guitar. Can you play? And I said, well, kind of, still a little bit. He said, oh, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm going to go and sell it. And he said, no, don't sell it. Put it back in the corner. I was like, what's the point? He said, just put it back in the corner. And I thought, mixed signals. Keep it, leave it. So I put it back in the corner. About a week or two later, His Holiness Shiva Ram Maharaj came, and annually he would come to the temple and do these awesome bhajans, kirtan. So somehow someone told Maharaj that I played bass and I had a bass. So Maharaj called me over and he said, anyone know Shiva Ram Swami? Yes. In his deep, rich voice he said, Dr. James, you play bass guitar? And I said, well, kind of, Maharaj. He said, where is it? I said, it's upstairs. He said, well, go and get it. And that night, he had me come in the temple room with my bass guitar and a group of musicians and in front of Radha Landanishwar, and I played bhajans for 3.5 to 4 hours playing bass, and my hair was standing on end, tears in my eyes, and I was thinking, I gave it up, but he gave it back so that I could use it properly. And so it's like that. Sometimes we get an instruction at a certain time because we have to let go. But maybe I could have kept it and could have kept playing it. I don't know Krishna's plan, but still it's like that. So sometimes time has to pass and then we get another instruction or an experience and we actually learn how to use things in Krishna's service rather than giving them up or trying to falsely renounce them. So in case you haven't noticed, a lot of what I talk about is I'm very against false renunciation because I think it can cause problems, as can hedonism or over-materialism. We have to find that middle ground and understand that salt, like Prabhupada gives the example, salt. If today they put no salt in the prasadam, how's everyone going to feel about that? Ooh, right? First question, Prabhu, any salt? But if they put too much salt, how are you going to feel? And that's even worse because you can't take it out once it's in. So there has to be some. So in general, we have to find that balance. So it's like that, Anyway, I don't know if that answers your question. But we're out of time, and I even went over time. So please forgive me. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. We hope to get your blessings so that we can come back and visit again sometime. We find it very inspiring here, lovely community of devotees. I never knew that nestled away in Ohio there was this beautiful, lovely jewel of ISKCON, Columbus, with these beautiful lordships. So we're very grateful to all of you for your amazing service here, dedication for so many years, and for making us feel so welcome. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Jai. Jai.
Now we'll all stand up, put the mats aside for the kirtan.
Yeah. Rancher.